Welcome to Triple R Sports, which expedient will start because I forgot to hit the introduction music. So tonight we're here live. The time is short, a lot of subjects to get through. So welcome. You know what? I renamed it without you guys' permission. I just got tired of 3 R's. I like Triple R rated better. Welcome, Raj Meta on time this week. That's the key.
I know. Hello. I'm just shocked as you guys are, hence I'm speechless. I'm actually on time.
We're really proud of you.
Thank you. Although I need 1 second.
Well, he's here, but he's not organized. Robbie, take us to the house.
Well, I just want to start off tonight by sending my thoughts and prayers to one Lanier Hutchison, who had the unfortunate task of playing me in fantasy football this weekend, and it didn't end well for him. And so thoughts and prayers go out to him. Hopefully he's, picked it up and, he can move on. I want our past thoughts and prayers go out to him. Our future thoughts and prayers are going to go to one Blake Spencer, who's turning 40 this weekend, and he has the unfortunate task of playing me this weekend. There will be more to come on this. Updated scheduling perfection, I might add. And so,
is he allowed to go out?
I mean, is he ever allowed to go out?
To the draft.
I was trying to get him something for his. I was like, oh, I should get him something for his birthday. I'm like, I don't even know what he does anymore.
Goes to the draft every year.
I think he has a cat. Sorry, dudes with cats just makes me laugh.
In his defense, he has 3 children under the age of 5. And he's 40.
Tomato.
I will say Robbie's victory was a big victory over the 2-time defending champion. This week, we have a little 3-on Triple R rated violence on each other. And
wait, Robbie won?
Robbie won.
Of course I won.
What the nut?
Hey,
sorry,
Moneyball, bitches.
Wow. Congratulations.
Myself was upset, losing by 1.5. And this week I play fellow Triple R rated cast member Raj Meta.
Nice.
It's gonna be a good matchup.
Hey, I think one thing I'm gonna have to do is go away from Herbert and go to my boy, the guy with the guy liner, emo Derek Carr, leading the NFL in passing against 2 solid defenses, might I add. So I'm definitely I'm gonna roll with Carr, I think. Boom.
I think we're gonna need a 20-minute breakdown of the game on Tuesday.
It's gonna be a while because by the way, everybody knows this week is Battle of the Stump. Glenn Edison, PA announcer extraordinaire from Sequatchie County, updates me. Sequatchie Middle School 34, Bledsoe Middle 0. The Battle of the Stump has began. Friday, your boy here will be causing his 5th version of the Battle of the Stump. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Nice.
Just FYI, Randall, you are a 6.5 point favorite over Raj for this weekend.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm just now looking at it, dude. Let me maneuver a bit.
I will not maneuver until I am on the thanks for the update, Glenn. I have a certain standard that I go with, and while you have to tinker with your lineup on Sunday morning. The first subject of 3R baseball, Triple R rated sports. Quickly, last week of the major leagues, Raj, Go to you first as our resident baseball expert. Some races are very much still in doubt. The American League seems to be wrapped up. The Rays lead by 7. The White Sox by 10.5. The Astros by 7. Over in the National League, nowhere near wrapped up. The Braves have stretched their lead from 1 game to 3 games over the last 3 nights. The Brewers have a 10.5 game lead. The Dodgers trail the Giants by a game. How do you feel like this is going to play out over the next week?
It's kind of crazy that the Dodgers could end up with the second best record, over 100 wins, and be a wild card. So they'd have to play, at this point, it would be St. Louis. We all know what the Cardinals do late season. I don't want to face the Cardinals. Wainwright's suddenly 20 again. Also, being a wild card, this is baseball in a nutshell. The Dodgers would not have home field aside from the wild card in either the NLDS or the NLCS. But if they make it to the World Series, they would have home field because the World Series is based upon best record. I mean, that's some
Do they not do
shit.
the All-Star game anymore?
No.
Thank God, no. The American League was basically, I mean, those rosters are constructed for D ages, right? And they had won like 20 in a row.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's all I do is interrupt. So please go for it. I enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are 1 game back. Unfortunately, baseball kind of, they can't predict the future. The Braves do have 3 against Philly. I think the Braves are a far superior team. They end against the Mets, and the last 6 games are at home. I mean, the Braves are, again, they're a better team, flat out. I put that on Twitter. Philly fan is Philly fan. They make Raider fans look civilized. The Dodgers right now are in Colorado, and for some reason, Colorado has owned us. I have no idea how or why. I'm hoping that will change. The last series in Colorado, Mookie was basically like 10 for 12 to start. It was first series after second half. And of course he got hurt. Dodgers end up with 3 against Milwaukee, the second best pitching team in baseball, probably the best bullpen, 2 of the best starters. Whereas the stupid Giants, they play San Diego right now, but they end up with, I can't recall. Let me check. Oh, okay. They play San Diego, then Colorado, then Arizona, then San Diego again. We actually have 2 weeks left of the season. So still time when we're 1 game back. But yeah, Braves, I'm hoping the Dodgers can come through. But, we're going to see. It's amazing. Dodgers versus Giants, 1 game back, 96 wins, 97 wins. For us, it doesn't get any better. They're the new Yankees and Red Sox, or the Yankees and Red Sox were the new Giants and Dodgers. Whatever. It's going to be awesome.
So we'll do our opening segment next few weeks over the playoff race. Robbie, will you come back into baseball at some point? Or the World Series, NLCS? Is there a time that we'll have you back?
So this draws into my 3 pet peeves about baseball.
Go ahead.
And actually, y'all, if people that have listened, y'all know I'm a NASCAR fanatic, and the same can be said about NASCAR. Why end your season during college football and NFL season? They get all the attention, and you can play it any time of the year, and you can you could end in August and have every eyeball on you. It would just be like, I know I get the tradition, I get all that, but if you want casual fans to watch, then play it in those games. Second pet peeve. This with the Dodgers and the Giants, and then not only are you letting the second best team play a potential wild card game or the only home game, it's a one-game series when the rest of them are series and you start your starting lineups. So it could be just an odd coincidence, and the second best team in the sport goes out on a one-game fluke. And like people say, well, the NFL, if you don't win your division, you're slotted in the wild card. That's great, but all of those games are single elimination. It doesn't fundamentally switch in the next round on how you plan out a series, how you plan out your lineup, how you plan out everything. It's a gimmick to create excitement, buzz, and which brings me to my third pet peeve. Do not play the playoff games on Monday night, Thursday night, Saturday night, or Sunday night because you are going directly against football. If you're going to play in this time, you have Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Friday night. Play these games. If you want to stretch the season out 7 months, stretch it out 7 months and 5 more weeks. And then play on those days where you are the only thing in town and get eyeballs, get new fans, make it exciting. Because playoff baseball is exciting. But you know what it's not as exciting as? Gambling on Monday Night Football or a whole day of Sunday NFL ticket or red zone. It's not that exciting. And so those are my 3 pet peeves. I would like to see those 3 things change or at least kind of altered to know who you're going against. Like it or not, the NFL is the big bad wolf in the room, and they're just climbing. And so you have got to modify.
So, strangely, I agree with you.
Oh, go ahead.
And here's why. The Braves will hold my attention. But the moment the Braves are out of the playoffs, if you go against any football game, you will lose. It's me that you lose. Now, if it's the Braves versus the Chiefs and the Ravens on Monday night or the Braves and the NLCS, I'm going with the Braves. But if it's the Dodgers and the Giants in the NLCS versus the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions, you're going to be on the little box on TV. So I tend to agree. Rod, God for you.
Well, quickly, I agree with Rob. What's even worse is the MLB will put series in the middle of the day during the week.
Yeah.
And if the Dodgers are not one of the primetime teams, then they'll play at 2:00 in LA when it's 100 degrees out. And, the Dodgers lead baseball with attendance every year. Of course, they can seat 55K in Dodger Stadium, but it's the dumbest thing ever. We don't get up for it. And God forbid, thankfully the wild card, I think American League is Tuesday night, National League is Wednesday night. Hopefully we won't be in it. But yeah, baseball, there's too much of the old boys network. Yes, they were the most popular sport and everything else was scheduled around it for years, but that passed about 25 years ago with the Yankees, the 90s Yankees. And, finally, real quick, I'll ask you both. The AL MVP is a hot topic. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and I can't believe I already watched his dad and now his son, hitting .320 with 46 home runs, 105 RBIs, OPS of 1.024. Ohtani, he's hitting .255 with 44 home runs. But he's 9-2 on the mound, 3.28 ERA, over 200 strikeouts with a 1.18 whip. Who is your AL MVP?
Without a doubt, Vlad Guerrero.
Oh, wow. So I'm going the other way. The guy who can hit and pitch. Because
not only pitch well. I mean, amazingly. Yeah. I'm with you. But it's, it's unprecedented. It really is.
And while the Red Sox are 84-66, the Angels are a whopping 72-78.
You mean the Blue Jays, but
your point plays part of it. So
that's very fair. But in the Angels' defense, they've been without the best player in baseball for pretty much the whole year.
I know he was never mind. Moving on.
Fantasy pick first.
But but this goes to a larger point. I don't think you have to be a winning team to have the most valuable player. I've never got that argument. If you're the hell, the Dodgers, they lost the pitcher, and again, I don't know names. I'm just
Trevor Bauer.
They lost a starting pitcher, an all-star, and they're still rolling. I mean, because he's really good doesn't make him the most valuable. Like if you're playing outfield and you're pitching and you're a star pitcher, how can you not be the most valuable?
So
now he's the DH though. He plays some first, I believe, but he's usually the DH. If that changes anything, I don't think so. But
let me make one point before we get off of it. Vlad Guerrero is hitting 70 points higher than him too. So
he doesn't pitch though.
He does
with more of wins above
he
replacement
plays in the
too.
field. He's got the higher OBS. Ohtani to me is still a little bit of a gimmick.
Vlad is up DH primarily, though. I must be fair.
I do think Ohtani going into the home run derby was a mistake as far as while it was great for TV, you could tell he was gassed after the first round. Like they just don't need to do that if that's not their main thing.
Also, way more games at first. Sorry.
If the Angels were in contention, I don't know if Vlad would have these numbers up right now. I mean, Tony would have these numbers. I think if they ever get into contention with Ohtani, you'll see him limited more to either the mound or the field. But we'll see when that day comes. But let's move on to college football. That segment went about 10 minutes longer, but okay, we'll have a 70-minute show. This weekend, there was not some really, I don't think it was earth-shattering results, except for maybe Florida and Alabama, but there was definitely some lines drawn in the sand to me. Let's start with, I think, one of the most overhyped national stories has been Penn State's win at home over Auburn. Here's the storyline I'm going to paint for you. And we'll start with you, Robbie. Auburn is about the 7th or 8th best team in the SEC. You won at home and struggled to beat this team that's probably going to finish 4th in the West. Is it an impressive win? Or is it you did what you needed to do?
Oh, I mean, yes, it was you should win this game. I think this is Franklin's 5th year there, probably longer now that I think about it. Auburn's got a first-year head coach. This is their first road game under this coaching staff. Yes, they are 4th maybe in the West. It's not a good Auburn. There's a reason why Gus got fired last year. Like, this isn't a program. Like, Gus didn't go to the NFL. He got fired because they underachieved, and they're an underachieving program. This was the ESPN hype machine. This was College Game Day.
I felt the same way.
This was SEC, Big Ten. This was their game. They do it better than anybody else, and I applaud them for it. I think it drew massive numbers, like 7.9 million, something like that. So, they did their job. They brought in wideouts, a cool atmosphere. Depending on what you think, it's either cool or not cool to see stadiums packed, but they are packed again. And, it was a good atmosphere, and I would like to go there actually one day and see that and go to College Station. State College. We all mess that up for some reason. State College. I thought as far as the outcome, Penn State should have won that game. They were favored for a reason. They were at home. I was not like, oh my gosh, Auburn lost. I expected them to lose.
Raj, is this again the national hype machine behind the SEC maybe overstating this victory?
Yeah, anytime the SEC loses, the rest of the country, we tend to be like, yay, they're not as great as, but Bama, Florida, Georgia, head and shoulders better than most. Yeah, Penn State, again, I've said this before. I don't understand how they were a losing team last year to suddenly beating Wisconsin. We don't know how great that team is, beating Auburn. And suddenly they're a top 10 team. Frankly, I'm surprised it was this close. I'm not a fan of Bo Nix. He played pretty well. He threw for 185 yards, but averaged 5 yards per carry. So what's that tell you? Or 5 yards per pass. What's amazing to me is Auburn had 185 yards passing and 182 yards rushing. Bigsby is a monster. The other dude, Hunter, he actually had kind of ripped off some bigger runs. But, they both had one turnover, penalty. Just kind of okay, the home team won by one score, and the road team had a chance to tie when the clock, when the buzzer went off. It's pretty much as expected. I didn't think it was a great game. I didn't think it was well played. And yeah, the hype was, you would think Penn State won the national championship against, the eighth place team in the SEC right now.
I felt better about Auburn than I did Penn State at the end of this game because I know Auburn shouldn't be a contender, and I felt like they played with one of the Big Ten teams that is a contender. So I might have been opposite of everybody else. I might have felt better about Auburn. But staying with you, Raj, real quick. UCLA, or let me request from this. Is Fresno for real, and does UCLA losing hurt the Pac-12's case?
First of all, let's start with Ohio State. They're not great. Oregon beat them. They're not great. I don't believe in Anthony Brown. UCLA beat LSU, who's not great. The flip side of this is, I believe every year, I've said this before, there's 2 to 3 teams that are head and shoulders above the rest. After that, it's a dog and pony show. I don't care who's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, Fresno State's not, quote, for real, because UCLA's not for real. I don't know what Chip was thinking. Zach Charbonnet, the transfer from Michigan, he had 6 carries for 19 yards. The guy shredded everybody else prior. He was just ripping them off. Their defense got shredded once again, the secondary especially, which is supposed to be the best part of their defense. They gave up almost 600 yards. And UCLA does this. They kind of are like, Tennessee, although early on, UCLA is not generally ranked, but we see this time and time again where a team gets an early season win, they go to the middle of the rankings, and then, reality sets in. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think the Pac is that great this year anyways, but like I said, this year, as opposed to last, and I think years past, the SEC is head and shoulders better than everyone. At least the top 3. So no,
Robbie, thank you. Robbie, what was your impressions of UCLA's?
Well, the standout stat of the game, and this is what happens when you try to speed up the game and it doesn't work. Fresno held the ball 40 minutes and 20 seconds to UCLA's 19 minutes and 20 seconds. If you try to go fast and you're not successful, that puts a ton of pressure on your defense, and they can keep pounding you and pounding you. Keep your offense off the field. That's been Chip's weakness everywhere he went, and the NFL killed him with it. Whenever all I gotta do is keep the ball away, and there's just so much stamina you can have. Fresno was ahead the entire game. And this was just really, we've talked about this, like the back when Clay Helton was coaching USC and Chip was at UCLA. There's these letdown games that they're going to just drop. And that's just, ever since he left Oregon, it's been this kind of, you want to say, hey, because I remember him being a good coach, thus he has to be a good coach. But the recency of the statistics don't match up with your memory. And so you have to readjust how you think about him. We talked about how Auburn isn't in the upper echelon of the SEC, LSU's below them. So it's a name brand. It's a recent champion. But Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, they're not walking through that door anymore. So it was a win. Again, ESPN hyped it up. We'll look back at the end of the season, I predict, and say, yeah, not a big win.
All right, stand
and
with
real
you,
quick
Robbie.
on Fresno State. Sorry, real quick on Fresno State. The quarterback Jake Haener is legit. What's funny is I'm just saying they're not legit, even though they lost by 7 at Oregon, because again, the Pac's not great. What's funny is he was at Washington originally. Washington's quarterback situation is super inept. Now the guy goes to Fresno State, 10 TDs to 1 pick, high QBR. That's all I got to say.
And his leading receiver also transferred with him.
I was looking at attendance for a 13th ranked Bruin team. They had 50,000 in attendance. So sad.
That's the key.
That's
the key.
Pretty good for UCLA.
Yeah, I mean, I guess eye of the beholder, right?
All right, Robbie, staying with you. Did Cincinnati prove something to you by beating your former school? And is Cincinnati a win at Notre Dame from having a legit case to make the playoffs?
Okay, so first point, I as a former student at Indiana University, I was so proud for that stadium to be full. They could not give away tickets.
Absolutely.
They couldn't pay you to go to a game when I was there. The tailgate was always good, but no one ever went to the stadium. So that was just, I mean, it was just nice. And as someone who's kind of anti-full stadiums right now, that was nice to see. But so I'll just flip-flop on that position a little bit. And then Indiana, they were my Big Ten sleeper pick. I don't think they're that bad. They played well. They just but no, yes, I do think Cincinnati, a win next week against Notre Dame. Let's see how Indiana finishes. Let's see how Notre Dame finishes the season. This is the best shot, at least at this stage of the season, for non-Power 5 to get in there. They can have a Big Ten win, and then if Notre Dame can, run the table, maybe lose 2 games, that's a big win too. And with how Clemson looks especially, Clemson's not running the table. I'll say that right now. They almost lost to a bad Georgia Tech team. Ohio State's got some issues, and so Oklahoma looks shady too. So yeah, this is the best chance a non-Power 5 team has.
Raj, how did you think your your future coach did against Indiana?
Hey, Raj,
I'm also
Cincinnati.
I'm a Bearcat. Yeah, Stephanie and I both went to law school there. They gave me a lot of money, and Jack and Cokes were like $3, and I was coming from San Diego, so I was like, done. But they're strong defensively. Go ahead.
Did we attend like 47 colleges? I mean, we seriously.
I went to 1 undergrad and 1 law school.
But you've got
Robbie went to like 8 and 8.
I went to 2 undergrads, a law school, and then a master's of law program. So I went to 4, then 2 universities abroad, 3 universities abroad. So I went to 7.
I went to 5 schools and I got 2 BS degrees. I got nothing that you guys got. Go ahead, Raj, and your Cincinnati stuff.
It's kind of along the lines of Indiana. The fact that stadium, Nippert, they've redone it. But back in the day when I was there, I'd go to the gym and it was on my way and I'd walk by and check out the stadium. The only time I ever saw it full was because it was Oktoberfest. A bunch of fat Wisconsin people, no offense, came down. And Cincinnati somehow upset number 5 Wisconsin and Ron Dane. Other than that, that's the only time I saw people in that stadium. Now it's packed. It used to be basketball back then, thanks to Huggins. But, Desmond Ridder is legit. He's a guy who's a dual threat. He wins ball games. They've got good defense. The depth's not there. I think they actually, I don't think Notre Dame's beating them, which I think they will, is going to propel them to the playoffs per se, but I think they could and should get in. And again, as the 4 seed, you're a sacrificial lamb to Alabama. And even though I know they only won by 2 last week, Cincinnati would get rolled by that team. So, they played well. I thought Indiana would be that surprise team as well. They've drastically underimpressed. They could make the playoff, but, I mean, do you really want to be, again, slaughtered on national TV? I guess nobody wants to be the 4, though, with Alabama.
So, you kind of led me to my question. You'll open this topic up, Raj, and then Robbie will bring us home and close us out for college football. I've contended on the radio. I've contended on the platforms we have here. Florida's loss over to Alabama and the way it occurred is more impressive than any other win that I've seen in the country. Specifically, Florida's loss is better than Georgia's win over Clemson. So break down Florida, Alabama, 31-29, instant classic. To be honest with you, I thought Florida was going to get blown out of the stadium. Raj, what was your thoughts of the game? Najee, bring us home.
I agree entirely. Emory Jones, he did enough. He's a dual threat guy. He's not a great passer. He missed a lot of open throws. There were a lot of boos in that stadium. I feel like Alabama was like, okay, we've got to play now. They didn't really run the ball as much as they could have. Robinson and McClellan I can't believe they shut him down. That's the one thing I take away. I'm not a big fan of moral losses because any given Saturday, they can be like, all right, we're great, and then get smoked by Auburn, like a team that seems much lesser at least, a lesser team. Florida defensively impressed me. I was surprised Alabama had 11 penalties to Florida's, 7? It was very un-Alabama-like. They didn't hit 100 yards rushing. They averaged 3.3 yards per carry. I was just surprised. It was a fairly clean game. But let's say Florida's defense was very impressive, and I feel like Alabama didn't really play. And even though it was a 2-point game, I think they had the lead the whole time. So I don't think they were ever in danger of losing, in my opinion. But yeah, a 2-point loss, way to go. But Florida's defense is legit. That's where I want to. Basically, that's what I took away.
Robbie, I thought Alabama does have a flaw in their run game. Robinson is not the type of back that Najee Harris or any back they've had over the last decade. He's a very pedestrian-like back. Does Alabama, are they missing the run game of the past? And are they issues there?
Well, so let me take issue with the perception of, Florida, like I text y'all beforehand, the fact they were 14 or 15-point underdogs was crazy to me. This is still the University of Florida, and this still has Dan Mullen. They lost by 6 last year to the same team in the SEC Championship, who lost, 7 NFL first rounders, 6 or 7?
Right.
I don't know why people were expecting an Alabama blowout. And I did look wrong in the first half when Alabama got up 21-3. But no, Dan Mullen's a heck of a coach. And his offense is tough to stop. And you have seen that over and over and over again. Who's beat Saban the playoff? Urban Meyer. Dan Mullen. Who's beat Saban in the SEC Championship? Urban Meyer, Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen coaches a very, very tough offense to stop. And I've been down to Gainesville way too many times, and it's a tough place to play. It's annoying. It's hot. It's obnoxious. They're obnoxious. And so I was more impressed with Alabama getting out to that strong lead. They followed the blueprint so what Saban's going to do next week and in the future, hey, that first half when I prepared you guys, this is what happens. When the second half, when y'all do what you want to do, this is what happens. So it's going to give Saban more power in that locker room to say, hey, you listen to me and we will win. You do your thing, you can get beat. I think Florida's a heck of a team. I guess we're not doing bet your nuts yet, but I can tell you if you have some significant coinage, Florida's looking good this weekend.
Best rush defense in the country. 2.5, 2.7,
Yeah.
3.3 against Bama and their 5-star OLs.
Oh.
Average at 2.8 yards per carry. Yeah, nobody's running the ball on them, which puts them in every game.
Well, Florida's O-line and D-line, especially in the second half, dominated that game.
You're right.
I think Florida and Georgia got really interested in my mind this week. I think walking into the season, I had Georgia as a clear favorite over Florida. But I think those two in my head have pulled close in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, I bet Florida's a 6-point favorite.
Yeah, Daniels is not what he's cracked up to be.
Well,
I'll take Florida all day.
The young quarterback, his name always slips my mind. Who's the young
Stetson Bennett?
Anthony Richardson.
Stetson.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, if he's ready, that changes the dynamic. But we'll get to that later. Quickly, we want to jump over to the NFL. And this topic, I will call the Las Vegas Raiders topic.
Raiders. Sorry.
So, basically, Robbie posed a question to us and to Raj and myself. Who is 2-0 and who is 0-2? And have you reset your divisions? So, quickly, I'll go through the 0-2 and the 2-0 teams. In the AFC East, everyone is at 1-1 except for the Jets, 0-2. No shocker there. In the AFC West, currently 2-0, two teams. The Raiders and the Broncos. In the NFC North, everyone is 1-1. In the AFC South, two teams, and this is going to be one of my shocks, are 0-2. The Colts and the Jaguars. In the NFC, only the Giants in the East are 0-2. In the West, football's best division, 3 2-0 teams, the Niners, the Rams, the Cardinals, the Seahawks are 1. In the North, the Vikings in line, 0-2. Everybody else is 1-1. And in the NFC South, the Bucks and the Panthers, my other shock, are 2-0. And the Falcons, hopefully, are playing for Spencer Rattler, 0-2. So, Robbie, lead us off with where are you going with your 2-0s and 0-2 teams?
So the team that sticks out to me the most is that just wow, is Tampa Bay. Man, like I know they just won the Super Bowl, and it's so hard to repeat. And there's been a repeat since the 03, 04, 04, 05 Patriots, also with Brady. But man, those weapons are just everywhere. And I think they play in one of the worst divisions. Atlanta's terrible.
New quarterback Spencer Rattler.
I don't know what to make of the Saints yet. Panthers look good, but Tampa's way better than they are. The other 2-0 team that, even though they should have lost this week, that is scary is Arizona. Man, Kyler Murray and those players, and it's so hard to contain him. They look like for real, but that division's terrifying. The Raiders and the Broncos, the Raiders look good, The Broncos are okay. I think that's just a wait and see, a product of kind of the opponents, I guess. Even though the Raiders have won 2 good games, but I still don't trust them yet. The team on the flip side that's on potential of disaster is Indy, who has an at Tennessee game this weekend. And if they go 0-3 with the schedules they have coming up, that could be that. Well, if Tennessee wins next week or this weekend against Indy, I think they're minus 200 now to win the division. They probably go to minus 100 or if not less to win that division.
But at this point, Tennessee was a little bit in trouble at Seattle.
Oh yeah, Tennessee's got all kinds of problems, but they're not going to be 0-3.
Yeah.
No, Tennessee. Well, can we just all admire how great Russell Wilson to Lockett is? When he throws that ball, he throws it, Lockett. It's like it's target practice. It's amazing.
Russell Wilson's amazing. I'll agree with that all day.
I think.
I thought you were going to talk about your boy Henry. Jesus.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, he just. If you don't get them in a have to pass situation, Henry will keep barreling and barreling and barreling down, and your defense will break. The other, I'll shut up after this. Niners look good. Rams look good. NFC West is a beast. As Seattle being in last place, who could easily win that division still, that's a monster.
The input that I have, and I agree with you, is I'm shocked at how bad the AFC South is. Even I thought the Colts and Titans were on the verge, and the Titans still have a lot to play for it. But the Colts have looked bad. The Jaguars have looked horrible, and the Texans beat the Jaguars. So that division is a mess.
Well, I'll tell you what is even worse, and real quick, and then I will shut up. The NFC North, Packers, minus 17-point differential. Bears, minus 17-point differential. Lions, minus 24-point differential. Vikings, minus 4-point differential. They're all in the negative. They just happen to play each other.
Yeah, I'm with you. Raj, the Raiders are 2-0.
I'm stoked. The flip side is, they beat Baltimore on Monday night. It's the first time there were fans in a brand new stadium that looks like iRobot. So I kind of, they always play Pittsburgh well, even going back to Bruce Gradkowski. On top of that, Pittsburgh was down 4 defenders. TJ Watt, who didn't, he played the first quarter, a little bit in the second. His groin got hurt. Well, if you don't practice and you hold out for money, that's going to happen. Devin Bush, Joe Hayden, those guys didn't play. So the Raiders, on a short week, they went to Pittsburgh and won. They did what they had to do. Ruggs actually did something. But, there's also 2 caveats. The Broncos beat the Giants and they beat Jacksonville. Houston has impressed me. David Culley can coach, actually. They beat Jacksonville, but, I don't think people thought Houston would win a game. I agree with the Colts. They could be in trouble. Wentz has 2 sprained ankles. Yeah. And Jacoby Brissett is not back there anymore to back him up. Their backup, I can't recall right now. It's Jacob Eason from Washington. And that guy wasn't great at Washington. How's it going to be good at, there? I disagree in that I don't, the South is the South to me. The North will be the North. They're all 1-1. Kansas City's still going to be Kansas City. In the NFC, the East, Washington and Dallas to me are better than the other 2 teams, but we'll see. The Packers, they get shelled by the Saints, and then they they beat the Lions. But the Lions they moved the ball. Week 1, Jameis Winston had 5 TDs and 0 picks. But both weeks, he's thrown for 180, 150 yards. It's not exactly setting the building on fire. They got their butt kicked this past weekend by Carolina. Carolina's defense, by the way, is the top defense in the NFL. They have the most sacks as well. They beat the Saints, and they beat who they beat week 1? The Jets. My boy Darnold. Kind of funny what Zach Wilson did last week, but what Darnold did, just a much better team. And defensively, last year, the Raiders should have drafted Brian Burns. They didn't. They took Farrell, who, by the way, week 1 was a healthy scratch at 4. Leatherwood, I think he had like 20 penalties and we're not going to go down that route. We all know how I feel about that. By the way, he got hurt. His oblique, which I didn't know his fat ass had obliques. Oh, sorry. Was that out loud? Tampa, the defense is kind of getting shredded. They're allowing 27 per game. Yes, they've been up and they've kind of, not against Dallas, but last week, there was a lot of garbage yards. But, for the vaunted defense that we were supposedly going to see, haven't seen it. The Rams, I think are legit. Arizona, Kyler Murray's still going to throw the balls he shouldn't. Their receivers are great. The defense, I thought, would be better. They will be. Young linebackers. Simmons is awesome. But, if I'm going to go teams overall that have impressed me the most, I'm going to go the Rams, Tampa for their offense. In the AFC, even though I'm not including Green Bay there, even though, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, other teams are 2-0. I still like the Ravens and Browns and the Bills. I don't care about the rest.
It's okay.
They're so dependent on a guy that is built like a defensive end, but is faster than a cornerback. But they haven't impressed. They're going to get better. Week 1, they kind of look like we'll show up with Julio and AJ and Henry. They forgot to care. So yeah, the Titans are there. I disagree. The defense is not anything to write home about. I know they got Bud Dupree. It looked like they'll be better against the run. Secondary is suspect. But yeah, it's the same. It's the usual suspects.
Yeah.
That's all.
Hey, Randall, give me your 20-second elevator pitch. Why you think the Falcons should take Spencer Ratliff as number 1?
I was just throwing that out there because it was in a mock draft. I really like Rattler. If you like Kyler
Rattler, sorry, I don't know his name.
If you like Kyler Murray, you should like Rattler. I think the number 1 quarterback taken may be the kid from Arizona. From Nevada, the strong kid, the one that had like 2 ACL surgeries.
I called the Jets screwing up on Zach Wilson. I think that's going to be proven to be true. You don't reach at that. I don't think there's a quarterback that I've seen in college that's coming out that's worthy of a top 10 draft pick so far.
So the mocks
with that competition they face.
Yeah.
But the Falcons are going to be bad for a couple of years. So we're going to be picking at the top of the draft, probably 22, 23. We can get a quarterback. I did feel good. Kyle Pitts looked like the Kyle Pitts I expected it to be. My story, though, of all this is how bad the NFC North is. And I hate playing this team played that team. But the best team in that division was supposed to be the Green Bay Packers. They got destroyed by the Saints. Then I watched the Panthers play the Saints. That Saints team is not very good. And the Vikings are not very good. The Packers are not very good. I think the Bears are blowing a huge opportunity by playing Andy Dalton and not playing Justin Fields. I think the Bears legitimately have the best roster in that division with the poorest quarterback play. So That's the thing I want to see. I want to see Fields on the field with that roster and see how good the Bears are. Because I think that division is up for toss. Also, I think the Panthers are a little more real than I think they are. But I think the team, I root for Sam Darnold just because it feels like he escaped New York like a bad movie. And I think that defense is for real. So I would not be shocked to see the Panthers make the playoffs. So,
well, the NFC in general is just very weak.
Very good at the top and very bad everywhere. I mean, like there's a few elite teams, and then it's a big separation. Where I feel like the AFC is more balanced, top to bottom.
Well, so the thing you bring up about Fields versus Dalton, the Bears are a GM and coach situation that are both employed for their life right now. And the fact that they both are saying we want Dalton makes me think that there's something that's not connecting yet. Now, I'm not saying later in the year it won't be where you got to go to Fields and Fields will be better, but just the excitement of Fields would get fan engagement and get people behind them. So there's something that's not there, in my opinion, that they just can't say, hey, we got to turn the reins over to this kid.
And you see the same thing kind of in San Francisco. Like they're almost afraid they'll cut Trey Lawrence.
Yeah.
All right, guys, one more. Austin Riley hits a bomb to left field. Atlanta up 2-0. Update. Before we get off this subject, we got to wrap up. We want to go through some games real fast from this weekend, coming up weekend. If I held a proverbial, you got to make a pick right now, gun, give me your NFC, AFC championship game and your Super Bowl. And we will, I know this is springing on you, so take it. If you need a little time to work through it, we'll start with Raj.
I think the NFC for me is pretty easy. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm going Rams and Tampa. I think those are the two best teams overall. It's funny because I think they're probably the two best offensively. And when it comes down to it, probably the two best defensively. When it gets to the AFC, it's a little bit tougher. I'm hesitant not to pick last week's Sunday night game, Baltimore and Kansas City, just because I think both present so many matchup problems for everyone else. And I don't see any team defensively that can do enough on both in both facets against the pass and the run to stop either of them. Now, you never know in the NFL. You know, Denver has a great defense, great front four, Vaughn, Miller, Chubb, and then they drafted Surtain, which is wow, as if their secondary wasn't good enough with Justin Hamilton back there. The Raiders, you never know. They'll probably end up choking, but, their passing game looks legit. But, yeah, I'm going to go Baltimore. Long story short, Baltimore or Tennessee if they can put it together. But I know you guys say Tannehill's got great stats and this and that. A lot of it's against the NFC South or AFC South, which I think is crap, except for Tennessee. And hence, I'm going Baltimore, Kansas City, Rams, Tampa.
Robbie?
Well, I'll go the easy route. I agree. I think it's Tampa and LA in the NFC. Tampa's just too good. Brady doesn't get hit. Too many weapons. Their division's easy. They're going to have home field throughout. The Rams are going to battle. So in the AFC, though, the more I look at it, I'm going Buffalo as one. I just think their division is they're going to separate. They had a tough week one. Tua's hurt. Mac Jones and Zach, two rookie quarterbacks. Buffalo's winning that division. So give them at least a home field playoff game. I think they've got what it takes to keep Baltimore off the field. So then it's going to break down. I think as of right now, week 2, I'm going Buffalo and the Chargers in the AFC Championship.
Whoa. That's a good
I think Herbert's going to keep getting better. They've got weapons. I think this Chiefs team, they're cocky, and I think they're going to derail.
So, strangely enough, I'm going to pick the Chiefs not to be in the AFC Championship game too. But I thought I would be the one to get the woe. But I agree with Raj. I think the Rams and the Bucks are clearly the best in the NFC. In the AFC, I still think the Bills are the best team other than the Chiefs. But I think the Chiefs are due for a letdown, derailment at some point. Give me Buffalo.
I did forget about
Buffalo and the Ravens. Go ahead, Raj.
I did forget about the Bills to some extent. Put those 3 in the same and add Tennessee. Real quick on Justin Fields. I have never been super impressed with the kid. Tons of weapons at Ohio State, an amazing offensive line. I feel like he's immature, and I feel like the Bears know what they're doing. Their offensive line's not awesome. One of the bottom 10 in the NFL, in my opinion. They drafted Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma. I think that's his name. But they're just not great. And Dalton's kind of a sacrificial lamb, but he's going to teach him. It's not like when Fields has come in, they're moving the ball like crazy. I just don't think he's ready. So I thought Dalton was an interesting choice, to say the least, but I don't think Fields is going to come in and they're going to be, at least not yet, maybe in week 10 or something like that, if they're still relevant. But I don't think Fields needs to play right now, in my opinion. I think he's immature, in my opinion, like physically and really mentally, if you ask me, but I'm not his psychiatrist or psychologist.
Excellent. I think that's good insight. Robbie, you got anything to finish up on the topic?
Well, I'll just say that Joe Burrow was a bum last week and almost cost me my fantasy game. And so not happy about that. Hopefully he can bounce back. I think Big Ben's got a pectoral issue, and so he's not going to play. And those are my 2 quarterbacks. So I need a bounce back from Joe. If you're listening, play well this week.
All right. Joe, you've been asked nicely. I have 9 games. 4 college, 5 NFL, 1 extra. I think maybe an NFC Championship preview that we just talked about. Take a round table for about 30 seconds. I'll give you a scenario, and then you run with it. Pick the game. Just winner. Wisconsin, Notre Dame. Critical for Notre Dame. For Cincinnati, it is critical for Notre Dame to win this football game.
Can you tell us where the games are, even though we know?
That's at Soldier Field.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't have it wrote down, so maybe you want to Google them as we go through them.
Yeah, it's Soldier Field. They're playing neutral site.
So, Wisconsin, Notre Dame. We'll start with Roger Meta at Soldier Field. What do you think?
The Jack Cohn game. Kid had a lacrosse scholarship to ND. Was at Wisconsin. Was a not overwhelmingly impressive. His stats were good, but he was 12-6. Wisconsin's defense is probably good enough. I think Notre Dame covers the 6.5, but I'm just hesitant. Actually, I'll go Notre Dame. Coin toss. I think it's just like Wisconsin, Penn State. It's going to be ugly as hell. And, I think Notre Dame's better coached. So better in the trenches, at least more athletic. And Kyle Hamilton, they say he's going to be a top 5 pick. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame in a close one. That's my opinion.
Robbie Davis.
Going against your Bearcats.
No. This is Wisconsin.
Yeah. That's next week. So this is Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Well, that just changed my whole argument. So, yeah, Wisconsin seems to be a letdown this year. We as a college football group need Notre Dame undefeated going into the Cincinnati game. So I'm cheering for Notre Dame, and I think they do win.
All right, next one at Arlington, Texas. Another neutral site game.
Oh,
this is a good one.
Texas A&M takes on the Arkansas Razorback. Robbie Davis take it off the tee and hit it 330 down the middle.
Actually, I'm playing Sweeten Coves on Thursday. Very excited about it. But
330 down the middle.
So I want in every part of me to pick Arkansas, but even though Texas A&M hasn't looked that great this year, I like Sam Pittman, Jimbo Fisher. I'm on the fence about. I think he's the third or fourth best coach in the SEC, even with that $75 million salary. But I'm gonna go A&M. No real logic behind it, but I just think A&M wins.
Raj Meta.
I absolutely disagree. If we're gonna bet my nuts, I'm just gonna get it out there. Arkansas at 5.5 is my pick. I thought the game was at Razorback Stadium, but still, I'm gonna take Arkansas. I saw SEC swamp monsters on both sides. KJ Jefferson's not going to throw the ball all that well, but, I was very impressed with what he could do. And the flip side is I don't think Haynes King is worth that much, and I don't know if he's playing, or the Calzada kid. Yes, they can run the ball, but Arkansas can key on that. I was really impressed with Arkansas. So that's my bet your nuts. And I think Arkansas is going to beat them straight out.
All right.
Money line play.
That's
going to be one of them for sure.
I'm picking Arkansas too. I just think they're due. And Robbie, you said it. I think Sam Pittman's the better coach, even though Jimbo Fisher's got a national title. In the first game, by the way, I think Notre Dame wins. West Virginia coming off a big upset of Virginia Tech as a home dog. Goes to Norman, Oklahoma, and plays the Boomer Sooners. Robbie Davis?
So I do think Oklahoma is going to lose.
Oh.
I don't know if this is the game they are going to lose, though. I think Oklahoma was scared against Nebraska, and I think West Virginia was ecstatic against Virginia Tech. The travel distance from Morgantown to Norman, I think, is a challenge. I don't think West Virginia covers, but I think Oklahoma wins.
Interesting. Raj Meta.
I think West Virginia should be able to cover just because Oklahoma beat Tulane by 5, Nebraska by 7. I don't think West Virginia is that great. You can throw a bunch of teams in a hat. They're all kind of the same. Virginia Tech beat North Carolina, but at home in Blacksburg at night. I expect them to win against a team like that. West Virginia beat them at home. Oklahoma's finally going to play, I think, against an opponent that is commensurate of their abilities, I suppose. I don't think West Virginia covers. I think West Virginia covers, but I think OU is going to win the game by near 2 touchdowns. I don't think West Virginia is that great.
I agree. I think Oklahoma wins, but I do think Robbie's right. Even though Oklahoma was my pick, I think I was wrong. I'm already getting off the ship week 4. They're going to lose at some point. I just don't know if it's this week. Last college game in what used to be a fun rivalry that has become ugly. How does Tennessee survive the swamp? And Robbie Davis, which side of the line do you like of this?
So I was driving home today, and
this is my bet you're nuts.
And Feinbaum was on, and I was listening to Feinbaum, and a 15-year-old called in. Can't remember his name, Caleb, maybe something like that. But anyways, he called in and said, "Hey, does Tennessee have a chance against Florida?" And Feinbaum was just said, "You're 15. How many times have you in your lifetime have you seen Tennessee beat Florida?" And then he was like, "I don't know." He's like, one time in his lifetime. So
Casey Clausen?
it was Josh Dobbs and Juwan Jennings.
My bad.
With the Smoky Grays.
Crap Florida team though.
Yeah, and so even though they went through coach changes, not like we have, but they've done some. And so it came to my attention that a 15-year-old has never seen Tennessee beat Alabama and has seen Tennessee beat Florida one time in their entire life. And so yes, Florida is going to roll as they always do, and we are going to say wait till basketball season, and then we'll get them then. And probably Kentucky then. So yes, no, Florida's it's going to be a rout. Florida's just too talented. They're better coached. They're more stability in the coaching staff. Better recruiting. Yes, Florida rolls. I think what is it? It's open at 16.5. Maybe it's at 20 now. Give me the points. I'll take Florida.
I don't know if it's better recruiting, but
it's 20.
It's
20. Yeah, I'll take Florida.
It's the 50% of Tennessee's roster that's releasing that we recruited too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Raj.
I agree. I've said this is the best rush defense in in college football, and that includes Alabama. I don't think, even though I like Hooker, singular.
Hey, an exclusive Hooker relationship. That's so romantic.
Yes, I am going to Mexico. So I'm just kidding.
Hooker's
my wife is listening. It's a joke. It's a joke. I don't like dying of STDs, but yeah, they're one-dimensional, and that one dimension is going to get shut down. The flip side is I've been impressed with Tennessee's ability to stop the run. Like I said, they've got a lot of dudes passed the eye test. Doesn't mean you can play in the SEC. But Florida's one-dimensional as well. But what I saw from the Florida offensive line, like Robbie said, and the defensive line, they won in the trenches overall, in my opinion, against technically better dudes when it comes to the experts, the pundits. But yeah, Tennessee's look good. Right now it's at 20. They're not disciplined, obviously, where they have like 28 penalties last week. They're going to be in the swamp. A lot of the guys, like you guys said, they just haven't played together. So I expect penalties, turnovers, and a Florida washout.
Who knows of STDs these days? It's not the 1990s. If it was, Aaron, I'd probably be doing a line as we do the show. So I get that made me laugh. Here's my bet you're nuts. I'll get it out of the way. 62.5 points. I love the over. I think this is a game that's over by halftime. But I think Tennessee scores a lot in the second half. I said like a 51-21 game. The best case scenario I said was 51-14. That's still over. I really think Florida's in the upper 40s or low 50s. Tennessee somewhere in the 20s. I like the over, and I like Florida to win big. And it's unfortunate.
That's kind of a given, dude. Can we get another bet you're nuts? Because it's like, okay, Florida's on the road, or Tennessee's on the road. They commit penalties. They can't throw the ball. I think it's going to be an easy cover.
Well, let me ask this. probably Randall, just to you, and then if Robbie wants to chime in also.
Probably not.
If it gets 21-3 or 24-3 or 24-6, does Heupel keep up this fast pace and just let it get so out of hand? Like, because if you can, and this is what happens, if you can't get first downs and you keep speeding the game up, you're gonna get murdered.
I don't think there's any other way than Tennessee can play that way now. And if they start playing another way, you're kind of sending a message to your team that, hey, really, this don't work. So I don't know if they go.
Well, getting beat 60-10 shows you it doesn't work.
What about the flip side?
What's that?
Florida. Yeah, they played Alabama, but they haven't really shown what they can do against a regular team. I know they got Kentucky and then Vanderbilt at LSU. Maybe they get up, 28-3, and then they just start coasting.
I think they could, and I think we could see a lot of people. And Robbie, to answer your question, I think we'll see a lot of second string. I think we'll see a lot. I think this game is well out of hand by halftime. I can see it going into halftime like a 31-3 game. And I think that's where Tennessee still got to continue to throw and still got to continue to do what they do. I said before the beginning of the year, either Alabama, Florida, or Georgia would break 60 on us. So I'm still sticking to somebody will break 60. But I'm also a big believer in Heupel. He's got me bought in. And it's nothing to do with what I've seen on the field, but more about what I've read in the press, in the media, and the way the kids play for him. So I think this is one of the ugliest games in Tennessee history. So give me Florida and give me the over. God, that hurts. But anyway, moving on to the NFL. Yes, that does hurt. What a great matchup in the NFL this weekend. Great games in the NFL. And I kind of, when I looked at it, I kind of thought, wow, the NFL really has week 3 is going to be a good weekend. So let's look at that NFL schedule real fast. Let's start with actually the game we've already discussed a little bit. I believe it's the Colts at the Titans. Robbie, we'll start with you.
Wentz is going to be out, I think. 2 sprained ankles. You don't risk him this early in the season. Titans roll.
Raj?
Ouch. I'm just kidding. The NFL is usually the way it works for me is whatever I think, I bet the opposite, and usually I win. I agree with Rob. I don't think the Colts. But then again, the Titans, they've shown an inability to show up. Still being said, Eason's terrible. I can't believe the line's only 5, but Vegas knows a lot of things we don't. But yeah, I think the Titans win.
I think the Titans win, and this will be my other bigger nuts. Under. The Titans and the Colts to go under.
Under 48?
Yes. I like this game to be like a 24-7 game. I just don't think the Colts moving a whole lot. In a preview, well, Robbie Davis's AFC Championship game pick is here. Raj and I both kind of split over this. He picked Kansas City, but I think it's a real big game, Robbie. If the Chargers are going to be in that AFC Championship, the Chargers go to the Chiefs, and I'll let the West Coast guru start with this one. Raj Mehta.
I thought you were going to go with the Raiders and Dolphins, which is a game that scares the shit out of me because the Dolphins secondary is awesome. They've shut down 2 different teams. I don't know if you were going to go to that game. You probably weren't. Miami kind of has owned the Raiders since Duper, Clayton, and Marino, and that's only something for me or for Randall and I. So, yeah, I'm kind of expecting a Raider loss against Miami, and I think Brissett is better than Tua right now. So I'd probably put my money on Miami. Back to that game, the Chargers seem to play well against them. 6.5 is a lot of points. The Chiefs played late Sunday night. I agree that I don't know if San Diego is going to win, or sorry, LA is going to win, but I think they cover, and I think it's a field goal game.
All right. Hey, Robbie, go ahead and get the Dolphins out of the way, too.
I was going to say, are we just talking about whatever we want to talk about, then we're jumping on the topic? Just the Wild Wild West.
I mean, 2-0, 1-1, big game.
Hey,
you guys talked about the Colts and Titans.
Hey, Tennessee basketball hosted a 5-star recruit. I think it was yesterday, so hopefully they sign him, and then we get that rolling again. But no, so yeah, obviously if my AFC Championship pick can hold, Chargers have to have this game. I like it because the Chiefs are off a shorter week, playing the Sunday night game. Although it's at home, it's still in warm weather. They're not going to have the cold advantage. I like a distracted Mahomes here. I like the Chargers to steal this one, go back to their home in LA, not San Diego, and regroup for next week.
You're going to give us the bonus Miami Las Vegas pick.
Miami's without Tua, right? I mean, I think they got.
But Brissett's strong, dude. I think
Brissett's strong, but they didn't score against Buffalo. No, I like the Raiders' offense. I'll take the Raiders.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Allen didn't exactly set the world on fire. Miami's secondary, Xavier Howard. They're strong. So I'm very concerned about this game.
Luckily, Allen didn't set the world on fire because I was playing against him in fantasy, and then I was happened to beat Lanier, which was awesome.
Hey, I don't want to make your head bigger than it is, but your team's better than I thought. With Singletary, I can't believe you won.
Yeah. Hey, my running back situation is getting better and better.
All right,
and
Robbie,
your two tight end approach, Hawkinson and Kelsey. Hawkinson at the flex, man.
Hawkinson's
pretty strong. Yeah. I mean, they've got 3 young receivers. Tyrell Williams is never that great. He's always hurt. Man, Rob actually may have known what he's doing. But the flip side is his team's name is You're Watching Greatness. I wasn't sure what his team name was, and then I saw You're Watching Great. No, that's not you.
Mine's thoughts and prayers for all the people that I murder.
Equally condescending.
The Packers travel to the 49ers. Fuck.
Wait, Packers at 49ers?
Yes.
As of this stage, I can't trust what I've seen in the past. I can only trust what I've seen this year. The Packers, while they look dangerous, they don't look all in it. They beat a terrible Lions team, but it was closer than most people were expecting. Niners are really good. They're well coached. I'll take the Niners. I think they're at home. I'll take the Niners.
Flip side, I think Green Bay is going to wake up. They're playing a good team on the road, an old NFC Championship battle. Terrell Owens isn't coming out of that tunnel. I don't know. Maybe he is. UTC's best ever, which would be a lot of schools' best ever. But speaking of, quick note, UTC should have beat Kentucky. And I know that hurt Randall's heart. I know it hurt Randall's heart. But I'm going the other way. I think Green Bay shows up. They wake up. They win.
I like the Packers.
Hey, I'm going to be at the UTC tailgate on October the 2nd, I believe. If any of y'all are going to be there,
I will probably be there.
It's one of my buddies' birthdays. I don't know, Western Carolina or Western.
Yeah, I think it's the Catamounts.
Yeah, they should have beat Kentucky, though. Randall knows they should have beat Kentucky.
One of my buddies' birthday
tonight.
One of my buddies' birthday, and I guess we have a box. We're going to tailgate and all that kind of stuff. So.
Well, the balls are not at home. I'll probably use my Mox tickets that weekend. Also going to see the Falcons play the Redskins that weekend. Last game we'll pick.
The football team.
Oh, yeah, the football team. Last
Yeah.
game we'll pick. My NFC preview, I think it was all of our NFC preview. The Rams and Matthew Stafford goes to Tampa.
Other way.
I'm going to go ahead and step out first and
It's
say.
it's in LA. It's in LA.
Is it in LA? I read it wrong. I closed my laptop, to be honest with you. I'm going to step out, even if it was in Tampa. I'm taking the Rams.
I'll go.
I didn't. I never mind. I was so
No, it's all
excited
good.
about me picking Rams. You go, Raj.
Tampa's -1 on the road. We know about the 3-point kind of buffer for a home team. I think the Rams are actually going to have a massive crowd in their favor. Last week, they played Dallas at home. It was kind of 60-40. I'm surprised it wasn't 40-60. But, Tampa's defense has been suspect. I think this is one of the games of the year, as you alluded towards. Even though I think Tampa is a better overall team, I think the Rams win this game, and I didn't think that yesterday, but I think that right now.
Robbie Davis, makes sense of this logic that we keep picking the Rams.
Yeah, so this is a classic Tom Brady inventing enemies game.
Not Sunday Night Football, by the way.
So Brady's going to go into this week all week long saying Belichick outsmarted McVay. When Brady's going to think, no, I outsmarted McVay. And so he is going to be so obsessed with winning this football game. And if we know anything about Brady, I mean, you can go back and forth about Jordan and Brady, but good God, it's hard to argue against Brady. He is going to come into this game proving Bill Belichick wrong, that Brady did it, not Belichick. So I am going on the road. And yes, I do agree with Raj. It's going to be more Rams fans because very few teams have less fans than the Bucks fans. Besides when they're winning, they're 1 year winning, and then they come out of the woodworks. They're not traveling to LA for this game. It'll be a home crowd for the Rams, but give me Brady, give me his ego, his hatred, and I'll take Tampa Bay.
Well, guys, that was a good show. We ran a little bit long, but we still stayed. We're going to be under our guidelines we set, so we'll be okay. I like your pick, Robbie. I think it's just my heart wanting to. I'm really rooting for Matthew Stafford. Really.
Oh, I hope he's done, and he's going to do well. He's in a good situation.
All right, guys, real quick. I've already gave my bet your nuts. I like
Me
Tennessee, Florida over. I like the Colts and the Titans under. Rod, refresh us on yours.
Arkansas -5.5. I think that's going to come down. Vegas is no dummy. I'm kind of want to go NFL as well. Actually, shit, I forgot the NFL. I was almost going to take the Dolphins on the road. Dude, I'm tempted to go. Carolina is an 8-point favorite over the Texans at home. 8 is a lot in the NFL. And both of those teams aren't that great. So I'm really tempted. You know what? F it. I'm going with the Texans, man. They play pretty well at home, even though it's Jacksonville. But I'm going with the Texans.
Robbie Davis, make sense of this nonsense again.
So my actual bet that for the sake of honesty and the sake of transparency, I will now make 2 bets for the week just because I have faith in one and I have instincts on the other. My faith, my true bet your nuts pick.
Are they the same? Instincts and
was going to be Denny Hamlin plus 650 to win this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Because there was almost a fight last weekend. Hamlin's going to be really pissed. One of the best drivers. But I realized the same thing I said about baseball, the same thing I said about NASCAR. No one's going to watch it. But if you want to bet it and hope for free money, that's one thing. If you want something you may watch, then I'm going to go Titans -5 at home. Hopefully, I will be there at the game. And so I like the Titans -5. Colts, no starting quarterback. Easton's not going to get it done. Henry runs all over him. Titans make their first statement. They won against the Seahawks, but it was in overtime. Titans make a statement, win big against Indy.
Here's the real question. How much of the actual Florida-Tennessee game will I be able to watch before I'm listening to the radio? I'm thinking under 30 minutes for the whole 4 quarters.
Is that a comment on Burn?
Yeah,
it's a
or
night
Danielson
game in the swamp. It's going to be loud, even though we're not the big opponent, but
you were.
Man, they smell blood in the water. They realize how close they were to Alabama. If they went out, they can probably get in the playoffs.
That's a flip side, dude. They just played Alabama at home. Now you got Tennessee coming in. No offense, it's not 1998. You know, they may not be ready to go. And again, Emory Jones didn't set the world on fire. I'm still taking Florida, but you know, who knows what can happen.
Fear the Vols in 24. I'm not just saying wait till next year. I'm going out 3 seasons. Fear the Vols in 24. All right, guys.
All right.
It was a great show. Any last words? Anything? I'm gonna take first. I'll take the first last word. Very excited. I wore my Sequatchie County hat. This is my 6th. I said earlier it's 5th. My 6th battle for the stump. It's one of the most fun rivalry games that I've ever been part of. 2 very small schools, separated by less than 20 miles. We will have a crowd of 3,000 or 4,000 people. I will have literally 80% of the valley that's not at the game listening to me on the radio. This is the kind of game that 18,000 people, it'll either be 4,000 at the game and 10,000 on listening to the radio, but everybody in that town will be involved.
Hey, real quick, I even know what that is, but I've got some West Coast people that listen to the show. Can you explain quickly what the battle for the stump is?
Well, the stump battle of the stump. Our trophy is the trophy between Sequatchie and Blitzall High Schools. Is a stump. It used to be an Indian reference to it, as the Indians are. Sequatchie County is the Indians, and Blitzall County is the Warriors. So now it is actually a root stump that's been mounted on a plaque, and it is very. I did a show right before this about the top rivalries, and I've called a Marion South Pittsburgh game. I've never called a Macaulay Baylor game, so that goes in a list by itself. But this game is in my top 5 favorite rivalry games I've ever called. So my 6th one, everybody joined me on 93.3, and Robbie Davis. I did name Macaulay Baylor the best Chattanooga area rivalry, but I did name Maryville Alcoa the best rivalry in the state. So.
Well, yeah. First of all, it's Baylor Macaulay.
Macaulay
Baylor. Yeah. And I was gonna say, that's next weekend, I believe.
Yes.
If we want to hop on and do our own play-by-play, similar like we did the draft, I don't know if that's allowed.
I don't know if we can. I'll check to see if we can.
Well, we can at least comment
Yes.
on
Yes.
what's happening. We may not have to show the game. We can at least comment on it. And
100%
Peyton and
legal.
Eli.
yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to hop on there and do that.
Maybe we'll get Brandon Chang to work with you on that one
if
too.
you want to. Well,
Is that like modern day versus St. John Bosco in California, but like basically like T-ball
with more money?
I doubt that. Well, Macaulay, yes. Well, actually, you may be right.
Yeah. Yes, it's the same. But Alcoa and Maryville was recently named one of the top 10 rivalries in the country. So that's where those programs are. All right, Robbie, did you finish up your last words? Yeah, we'll try to work out something for Baylor Macaulay.
Yeah, no, it'd be definitely something interesting. We could try it and see how it works. And I thought we had a pretty good time watching the draft, talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that I know anything about Baylor or Macaulay's roster, but not that I know anything about baseball or much of what we talk about here. But we make it work.
We will. If I'm not at a game, if I don't have radio commitments, I will. But I can maybe put you in contact with somebody that does have some Baylor Macaulay experience.
Watch out!
So,
watch out for Silverdale. Silverdale looking strong.
I can read a program and talk about different
that's
people.
what I do every Friday night. All right, I don't know anything. Rod, what are you doing, buddy?
I don't know anything about Chattanooga High School football. I got neighbors that basically are Silverdale alums, and one of their kids, his name's Turner. I'm not going to say the last name. Hit almost like 500 as a leadoff hitter. He's also a backup quarterback and a safety. Silverdale is 4-0, I believe. And I know they play in a different division, but watch out for that team. Also, I like their green colors. But no, my final word is Jackson Dart. Damn it, it's 4-4 Dodgers. We're up 4-2 now. Colorado tied. I always thought Slovis was overrated. He's better than Daniels, which should tell you something. Daniels is just okay because the SEC is not great with quarterbacks. Although Bryce Young, Southern California, meaning they're not great now because they don't have to be. Bryce Young's awesome. Jackson Dart, the National Player of the Year from Utah, Draper, Utah. He's a strong player, man. I think that'll eventually be a top 5. He'll eventually be a top 5 pick. Plus, if you saw his eye black, he kind of went like Braveheart on one side. Pretty bold for a white kid with long blonde hair. But yeah, Slovis overrated, takes too many sacks, hold on to the ball far too long. Jackson Dart, number 2 for USC. If it's not going to be this year, it's going to be next year and the year after. Watch out for that kid, and you heard it here first. He is legit.
Jackson Dart. Yeah, I meant to bring him up. I was going to ask you about him. That's a good call. All right, guys. It's been a great show for everybody. Welcome to, I don't know what we're calling it, AAA rated, 3R Sports. We appreciate your time, your effort. You know what, guys? I got hungry about 10 minutes ago. So I'm going to go get food.
You don't even drink.
No, I can't go have a drink.
That's why you get hungry.
That's why we get hungry. Yeah, we drink a lot.
I'm just a fat kid. So for Robbie Davis, Raj Mehta, the newly christened Rated 3R Sports Report, be safe, and we'll see you next week.